I'm so proud to be Haitian because just everything about being Haitian is just awesome.
You know, everyone know about the history of Haiti, first Black independent country in 1804.
Understanding the history of Haiti, Haitian people, you can't help but be proud of the accomplishment that have happened.
Haitian Americans have done really well in the past few years. There's still a lot more work to be done. Only about 20% of us actually have a bachelor's degree.
I understand firsthand some of the challenges that Haitian American students, graduates, and professionals have faced.
Some of them have overcome incredible adversity.
Both immigrated or asylum seekers or refugees.
There are not that many Haitian-focused scholarships, but like any other award, the NAAHP Leadership Award is providing recognition for one's hard work.
As we know, college is expensive, so the scholarship fund provides the chance for a brighter future.
It felt like the universe was speaking, like I needed the money, I was intrigued, people were telling me to apply.
Going to college or graduate school can be very, very expensive. So donating to a scholarship like this would help that expense be more manageable.
Future generation of leaders, scholars, entrepreneurs,
young adults that are trying to make something of their lives.
They are rock stars. They just need the help, and they need us to help them accomplish it.
There's like this Haitian proverb that says, "Me'en pile chat palu," many hands make the load lighter.
Log in and you can donate $10, $25, $50.
It makes me think of the Malcolm X quote that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It makes me happy to know that our organization is contributing to that goal, preparing others for the future.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Ketsia Alert Sadler, and it is an honor to be here to speak to you this afternoon. I'm so privileged and blessed and thankful to NAAHP for reaching out to me to become one of their partners for the next few months. In addition, we are partnering with Chocarella and Book It Right Accountancy, and also my program, Cafe. To tell you a little about me, I am a married mother of two, a nurse with 28 years of nursing experience, been a school nurse for the last 20, with passions for education and healthy children. And so today you'll get a little piece of what College Cafe offers. Our motto is no more, pay less, which means that the more you know about the college financial aid process, the less you will have to pay. So parents, students, especially you high school seniors, today is for you. We're going to be talking about the Financial Aid Award Appeal Letter. So if you can cue up the slides, we can get started. I'm accepted, now what? So congratulations to all you high school seniors who have gotten the acceptance letters from the schools that you sent in your applications. First of all, I want to say congratulations for having made it through senior year in a pandemic, going through junior year as well, taking the standardized tests and everything. I know it has been stressful. I know it's been tough, but kudos to you for having made it. It's been tough having to do online classwork, having to talk to your guidance counselors and teachers, not being able to visit colleges. So it has been hard. It's a tough thing to do anyway, and now it's made harder by having to do things remotely. So again, congratulations. But like I said, you're probably sitting there and trying to figure out, where do I go? And if finances are a problem, that's why we're here today. I'm going to walk you through the process of an appeal letter. If it's something that you've learned and have done before, great. If not, we're going to learn a little bit more about it. Next slide, please. So the acceptance letter, when you receive it, what is in it? You'll see different parts such as the federal and state grants like Pell. In New Jersey, I'm a resident of the state of New Jersey. We have EOF. In New York, right across the river, we have the HEOP. Florida has a different program in case some of you are from the state of Florida. Can you go back one, please? Can we go back one slide? In the state of Florida, we've got the Florida Student Assistance Grant Program, and then sometimes you have the federal loans. The interest is being paid by the government. It's not accumulating while you're in college. And then the unsubsidized, the interest is accumulating while you're in college. There are also school-based scholarships and grants, which depend on your major, your GPA. Sometimes they're based on finances as well. There are also school-based loans. And then we have that Parent Plus loan, which I always try to encourage parents not to do or not to take out. But unfortunately, if your family situation requires it, or if that's your only choice, some parents do have to use it. And then we have work study. I put work study in parentheses because it's not really considered part of financial aid, but for some students who are awarded this amount, what it does is give you funds so that you don't have to constantly call, text, or ask your parents to, or grandparents or whomever to send you, or Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, any monies for you to be able to buy books. So your work study is a job on campus that you can work a certain number of hours. And being that it's on campus, the advantage is that your professors know you can work it around your class schedule. Those funds sometimes change in that if you don't use it all by the next school year, they may decrease it even if your family's finances have not changed. So everyone who gets a letter will have either all of these components listed, some of them, or none of them. All depends on how your family's finances look to the financial aid staff after you filled out the forms such as FAFSA and the CSS profile, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Next slide, please. So I want to talk a little bit about the types of colleges and universities because the different schools may have an impact on the funding that you are awarded. So when we look at public versus private schools, so we're talking in the state of New Jersey, Rutgers versus Princeton, or in New York, we're looking at a SUNY versus a Cornell. The private schools sometimes and usually have more endowments, meaning they have more financial aid available from people who've graduated, who left a certain scholarship for a particular student majoring in whatever their area of interest is. The public universities get more funding from the state, so they may not always have as much money available. Now, when we look at the in-state versus out-of-state schools, the problem is that you can't transfer your state money from one state to another. So if you're in New Jersey getting EOF money and for whatever reason you decide to go to New York because you're not a resident of the state of New York, you can't take that EOF money with you, and you don't qualify to get any HEOP money either. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, so I have a little demographic down there showing the difference in out-of-state and in-state tuitions. So for the year 2019-2020, you see the fees for Rutgers and Princeton. So for a student who is a resident of New Jersey, Rutgers was about $15,000 tuition. And I'm not even talking, that's just tuition. We're not talking about your room and board. So for a New Jersey resident, about 15. If you came from any other state, you paid about 32,000. When we look at Princeton, whether you're a New Jersey resident or any other of the 50 states, the tuition stays the same. So you have to think about, in addition to that $52,000 number, you still have room and board on top of it. So that's why the numbers matter, especially when we're looking at our financial aid information. Next slide, please. So we're going to look at the federal and state loans and grants. Those are determined by FAFSA. All 4,000 schools in the United States use FAFSA. The loans, these are loans which are initially taken out just by the student and you have to pay them back. Again, they include the subsidized, unsubsidized loans. And then when we look at the grants, though the Pell Grant, which is federal, is one that does not need to be paid back at all. And then the EOF grants, or the state funded grants, those are monies, again, that we said you can only use for a state in which you reside, and that's money that you do not need to pay back. The last link that is at the bottom there is one where there are some states in the Midwest, I don't remember exactly all of them, but let's use, for instance, Wisconsin and Michigan. If you lived in Wisconsin, you could transfer those state grant monies to Michigan and vice versa. Unfortunately, on the East Coast, it doesn't work the same. So, and there's a lot more competition in some ways. So you're not seeing that grant money being transferred between New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. So another thing to keep in mind. Next slide, please. So the TRIO fund is one that, again, they're federal funded programs that the schools develop programs for and apply to the federal government to get. And there's a few of them listed there. And other programs such as Upward Bound programs as well can apply for those type of fundings. So those are funds that if you went to a school that had funds for that particular program, you could be awarded that amount of funding, but it's not monies that you could apply for yourself. Okay, next slide, please. So let's talk about the school-based scholarships and grants. They're also based on FAFSA, the form that you have to fill out, which is for free. And if you ever go on a website and you see the FAFSA asking for a fee to pay for it, then that's the wrong site. That application is totally free. It has to be filled out every year you're in college. So as seniors, you should have already filled it out months ago for a freshman year at college, and every subsequent year for the following year, you'll be doing it. The CSS profile is a little bit different because it's mostly just private schools that use it. There's only about maybe 300 or so schools that require it. It's not a free form, unfortunately. There's a base fee that you pay, and then for every additional school that you're applying to as a senior, there's a fee. Now, if you decide in the future that the school that you'll be attending for the next 4 years requires the CSS profile, then every year you're in school, you have to fill out the CSS profile and make sure that you pay whatever the fee is. So that's really, like I said, to these school-based scholarships and grants, where sometimes the scholarships are based upon looking at your finances and or your grades. And I always tell families, let the schools tell you no. Don't always say that, well, I think I make too much money, so I'm not going to fill out the forms. You never know. Even if your finances may not allow your child to be awarded something on based on finances, but if there's a merit scholarship and they have your financial information, your child still may qualify. So always fill out whatever paperwork they ask you to fill out. The thing that is to note about sometimes with these school-based scholarships and grants, that if your GPA, if it's based upon your GPA, if your grades fall below that particular number, and a lot of times it's a 2.5 or 3.0, whatever it is, you can lose that money. So you really need to pay attention, students, once you get into college, to make sure that you're using all your resources available to make sure that you're not losing out on monies. And again, the school-based scholarships and grants can only be used at that particular school. So if you go to Princeton and decide you want to transfer to Cornell, you can't take that school-based money with you. And again, school-based scholarships and grants do not need to be paid back. Next slide, please. Okay, the Parent Plus loan, as I had said in the beginning, that is a loan which sometimes when you look at the financial aid package for your child, it looks as if it's monies awarded to your child, but it actually isn't. That's monies that the parent would have to apply for in order to pay for their child's education. What some schools will do, though, is if the parent applies for the funding and they're rejected, sometimes the school will increase the child's financial aid. There's not a guarantee of that, but it is an option. And you can either apply through federal programs for the Parent Plus loans and other private resources, and depending on the school, they may provide you with the information on how to apply for that Parent Plus loan. Next slide, please. Okay, front-loaded financial aid packages. If you've never heard of that term before, it's okay. I myself wasn't aware of it until about 3 or 4 years ago. So what the front-loaded financial aid package is one where your child is going to a school that say it costs 50,000, the school awards you 30, that meant out of pocket you're only paying 20,000. The following year, your family's finances have not changed at all, and for whatever reason, they've decreased your package. So that's a very good question to ask financial aid officers when you're touring the schools, or right now, if you're a senior, to email the financial aid office to find out, okay, will my child still be able to get the same financial aid package if our finances do not change next year? Of course, we know that tuition and costs may increase. So if the costs are increasing, will my package still be the same in order to balance what my out-of-pocket costs would be? Next slide, please. Okay, so on this slide, I have a sample financial aid awards packages just to show you what the numbers would look like as far as why parents would need to fill out the Parent Plus loan. So if we look at School A, both schools cost $50,000. School A awards a student $40,000, and that's just the student's money. It's not including any Parent Plus loans. Now, when you had done your financial aid forms, such as FAFSA and CSS, it said that out of pocket you can only pay about $10,000. So if you've only got $10,000 left after you transfer, then it was zero. And again, it varies depending on books, transportation, things like that. So you could handle 10,000, your balance was 10,000, you're okay. Now School B only awards your child $20,000. There's a balance left of 30. You know you can only pay 10,000. So where is that 20,000 coming from? That's why some families end up using the Parent Plus loan. So some schools will offer the Parent Plus loan in order to pay that balance. So that's why I usually talk to parents, and I do other webinars where we talk about how do I not have to take out these Parent Plus loans? And those are scholarships that your children should have been doing since the beginning of the school year. And even there are other scholarships that students can apply for starting as juniors in order to get scholarship money, so that out of pocket, that red 20,000 decreases, so parents not have to take out very minimal of the Parent Plus loan. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so like I said, so now you're a senior, you've gotten accepted to 3 different schools. Now you're looking at your financial aid package. I recommend that sometimes if you're a visual person like me, you may need to set up a chart where you're putting the school's name, the amount of federal money you're getting, the amount of in school-based scholarships, work study, things like that, just to compare the schools. The main thing though is that you can only compare apples and apples and oranges, meaning that we're only comparing state schools. So for New York residents, you can only compare SUNY schools to each other. You can't compare a SUNY and a Cornell. For New Jersey residents, we're comparing private schools such as Princeton because we only have the one Ivy. So you're comparing Princeton with, say, Seton Hall, or you can compare Rutgers and Montclair to each other. So this appeal letter is letting the financial aid office know that the package that they awarded the student is not enough to meet the family's needs. Okay, so you can only pay 10,000. So if they're not awarding you enough money, so your out of pocket is only going to be 10, then you need more money. Now, we really need to make sure, especially in light of COVID, that our finances have changed. Remember, when you're filling out FAFSA last fall, it was looking at your taxes from 2019. So in 2020, if your family's finances change, whereas a parent lost their job or was ill with COVID, and as a result lost their job, let the family know that. You need to make sure, you need to make the school aware of that information. They're not going to know that unless you tell them. So it's very important. That's why we have these appeal letters, because schools need to know about any changes in your finances, letting them know that you can't, that the money they're offering you is not going to be enough to make it to that school. And the one thing you can do also is, as I said, comparing apples and apples and oranges and oranges. So for instance, if you had Montclair and Rutgers as your two top schools, but you really want to go to Montclair and Rutgers gave you a better package, you can send that Rutgers package to Montclair and say, I'd really like to attend Montclair University, but Rutgers is giving me more money. Can you match it or can you do better? And usually they will match it or do better within their means. So at that point, it's up to you to see which one is working better for you. And vice versa, the private school, same thing. If you get into Cornell but really wanted to go to Columbia and Cornell gave you more money, send that Cornell letter to Columbia and see what they do for you. Next slide. So again, like I said in the appeal letter, you're looking at giving all the information that has changed about your family's finances since you filled out those FAFSA and CSS profile forms if necessary. Some schools have a form and then you can have a free text where you can write what your family's finances are. So make sure you know what additional forms you need to fill out, what additional paperwork is needed, and be factual, be honest, because you need something from them. And so you have to be willing to give them information about you. And don't miss deadlines, because a lot of schools are going to say that our deadline for this particular for the appeals is such and such a time. And I know that right now, May 1st is the deadline for you to submit your deposits to whatever college you decide to attend. So we've got about 13 days to get that done. So once we're done today, I would suggest definitely that you sit down, write your letter, proofread it, whatever needs to be done. That way you can make sure that all the information is in there. And I know families who have done it, and an appeal can also be done in future years as well. If your finances have changed, you can always write that appeal letter. If there's anyone who's currently in college who's listening to me, you can definitely do that. And I've helped families do that, where they wrote the letter, because it needs to come from you, because you're the ones who know what your situation is. So it has to be personal. I would just help you to make sure that, you're putting things in the correct order, and maybe help you to make sure that you're navigating and putting the right information there. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we're here at the last slide. So that's pretty much most of what I wanted to tell you. What you see there are my contact information. There's a Facebook page. If you're on Instagram, you can also follow us there, College Cafe _. My email address is there as well. If you send an email to me, I would definitely put you on the email blast. I send out emails about twice a week with information on the college process, scholarships that are coming up. And what I try to do is put the subject of the scholarship in there so you know whether it applies to you. And if your children are only in elementary school, that's okay, because I sometimes get resources for that as well. And I also send out internship information for students who are in college as well, because again, you still need money while you're in school. So definitely always make sure you ask the questions. Always make sure you stay in contact, because that's how you'll find out the information. And make time. If your schedule is so busy, maybe you might need to set aside a day or an evening where that's your day for checking out on emails. You don't want to miss out on any opportunities for getting funding. So I see some questions in the chat, so I'm going to start addressing those first. So first question, how do I qualify for loan forgiveness? It really depends. So yes, if some people are in the Peace Corps, there are programs for them. Military may have programs as well. As an educator in the public school system, I am eligible for it. To get monies for that. So it really depends. I would suggest that you contact whatever the program is, whether it's Sally Mae, Great Lakes, and I forget the other name of the programs who actually control your loans, the funder or whoever is helping you to pay back your loans. I would contact them to see if they have a loan forgiveness program that you can qualify to send an application for. So depending on certain jobs, you can be able to get funding or get your loans forgiven, and that's a major thing. I know President Biden is also talking about loan forgiveness programs, and initially it was something to the effect of people from certain schools like HBCUs were eligible for them. I'm not sure if that has changed, but definitely contact whoever is whoever you're making your payments to for your student loans to see if you qualify for those loan forgiveness programs. So I see the question about work study. Work study is one when a student gets their financial aid award letter, you'll see work study listed usually at the bottom. And so work study is not considered part of financial aid, but it definitely is important because it's funding that it's extra money that I see the question is it money to have fun with? Well, depending on your family, you may really need that money to buy your books. So I would say let's prioritize when you get that paycheck. Remember, you're only working about 20 hours a week, which is a lot. So maybe 10 hours a week, depending on what the rate is. I'm not even sure what the hourly rate is on a campus right now. When I was at Barnard College, you're talking some 30 odd years ago, I was making $4.25 an hour. So whatever the rate is per hour is what you'll be making a week. So if you're not working that much, you can definitely, you'll get a little paycheck. So, but like I said, let's prioritize first. Let's make sure our books are paid. Let's make sure that you set aside money if you're traveling. Sometimes we're going to school out of state. My children, my oldest is a Syracuse graduate. My youngest went to Cornell University. And so they, at a certain point, were able to take the bus home from their schools, and we'd go and pick them up in Manhattan somewhere. Or my younger son for Cornell, he would get off the bus on Route 17 in Bergen County. And so they would pay for their own bus ticket. So that's what I would say. Now, of course, things are going to happen. You may want, if there's a Starbucks on campus, you may want to go and buy Starbucks. So that's a little extra money. But I would say if you know your family is struggling to help pay your tuition and you're out of pocket for college, let's make sure that we're being responsible with our monies. And since we're talking about money, I want to say to the students, when you go buy your books, you will notice that sometimes they will have a credit card application in there. Do not apply for credit cards. If you don't walk away with anything today, that is one point I want you to remember, is credit cards are once you are established and have a job with health benefits, that's when you look at credit cards. And credit cards should only be used if you know you can pay off that balance at the end of the month. If you can't, then I would say to not get credit cards. All right. And so you have to be careful also. Some of the schools with your ID have those where you can charge things like, for instance, your meal plan. You have a meal card on your ID, but sometimes there are places on campus where you can eat where they're not using your meal points. And so you can charge that on your ID. Be careful with that as well, because those end up being extra money that parents will sometimes have to pay. So let's make the responsible decisions. And sometimes you may have to do that, but let's not make it a habit, because we don't want our families to have to pay all that extra monies when they're already struggling. So if there are any more questions, you can type them in the chat. My email address is drkas@collegecafeonline.org. Capital D, lowercase r, KAS, my initials, at collegecafeonline.org. Please feel free to email me. I am here as a resource. I'm from Haiti, so to my Haitian families, I am here for you all. My parents left Haiti my dad in 69, my mom in 70, and raised all of us 7 kids here in the States. So I'm really trying to help, my Haitian families to make sure that our parents, you all, can help your kids to go to school and not have to pay a whole lot of money for it. So please make sure you reach out to me. If you need to call me, send me an email and we can reach out. And if you need to talk to me further, I will call you, leave me your email or your phone number, your cell number, and I will definitely call you and talk to you. We've got, like I said, I'm excited to be partnering with NAAHP and Shokarela Book Accountancy for next few months of workshops. In May, we're going to be doing a workshop with a good parent partner, friend of mine. She has a program called Parent Matters, and she is the guru of internships, all types of programs to make sure that students have exposure Because definitely you have to be exposed, because honestly, when you are only 16, 17 years old, people say to you, what do you want to do when you grow up? It's a really tough question to figure out. So the only way you will do that is by doing internships, whether some right now some of them may be online due to COVID, but being able to go out and do the and do an internship with, say you want to be a veterinarian but you don't have any pets, you might need to work with a vet to see if you really want to be around dogs and cats and snakes and geckos and whatever it is that people are bringing into the offices. So that's going to be on in May, so look out for the information to join that. And of course, May 12th, NAAHP is sponsoring a workshop on your college planning, on building your college resume, because when you get to college, excellent grades are great, but they want to see, what are you doing in your free time? What clubs have you joined? Do you have a job or an internship? What do you do during the summers? Summertime is really important for any parents who have students who are juniors or lower years in high school. Definitely summers, I always recommend to do programs on college campuses, because that gives you an opportunity to be able to explore different majors, take classes on campus for credit. And so what that does is, if you graduate high school with about 30 credits under your belt, that means that's about almost a year's worth of time that you can shave off of your college time, which less time you're in college, less money is coming out of your pocket. So definitely make sure that you join that workshop so you can know how to build your college resume. And like I said, when you are in college, future employers will want to know if you have actually worked during the summer. My older son, when he was a junior in college, the summer between junior and senior year, he worked for a local company here in Bergen County, which allowed him to make money. I think he was making about $14 an hour. And in addition, they offered him a $5,000 scholarship. So that was monies that they gave to him. We sent it to the school, so that helped to increase our out of pocket. So sometimes certain programs that you're part of, that was part of the United Negro College Fund, even though he was not a UNCF at a UNCF school, he still was able to join that program and get this internship, make money in the summer during college, and get money towards scholarships. So your summer hours are going to be very, very important. Don't forget, donate to the NAAHP Leadership Award Scholarship. And please make sure you donate to NAAHP, because they're doing a great service out here to the community. So make sure that you support the program. Are there any more questions from anybody? Okay, so like I said, again, thank you again to my partners, NAAHP, Shokalela, Book It Accountancy, and of course, College Cafe, my program. It is my way of giving back and supporting our community and making sure that our children are going to college and not having to pay a whole lot of money for it. So follow us, check out the website, follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we hope to see you the next time. Have a great day.
Hi, this is Dr. Ketsia, Alert Sadler with College Cafe. Today, I'm talking to all my upcoming high school seniors. Congratulations, you made it, and it's college application season. So today, I'm talking to you about 3 different sites you can go to get your applications done. The first one is the Common App. More than 900 schools use this particular application, and there's a fee for each school. Fee waivers are available. You just have to make sure you get your application in on time. The second site is for HBCUs. It's called the Common Black College App, and 61 schools are part of it. There's only a fee of $20 for as many schools that you're sending your application to who participate in it. Not a bad deal. And then finally, we have the Coalition for College Access app. There are 150 schools that are member institutions of this one. Fee waivers are available, and of course, each school has their own fee. So the important thing for you is to go on those sites, set up your profile, and start looking to see what the subject of the essays are. The key for you right now towards as the summer ends is to get your essay drafts done. You want at least 1 or 2 drafts that you can send to your English teachers or to a family member who might be an English teacher or a college professor whom you know, because that essay, if you're not doing an interview, which I suggest you do anyway, even if they say interview is optional, I want you to have the best written draft for that essay. And in order to get that, you need someone to review it for you and make sure that your grammar and everything is okay. So get those done, and you can contact College Cafe on Facebook, College Cafe, Instagram, collegecafe.org, and I will put my email in the notes under this video so that you can contact me if you have any other further questions. Thank you and take care.
So proud to be Haitian because just everything about being Haitian is just awesome.
Everyone know about the history of Haiti, first black independent country in 1804.
Understanding the history of Haiti or Haitian people, you can't help but be proud of the accomplishment that have happened.
Haitian Americans have done really well in the past few years. There's still a lot more work to be done. Only about 20% of us actually have a bachelor's degree.
I understand firsthand some of the challenges that Haitian American students, graduates, and professionals have faced.
Some of them have overcome incredible adversity.
Both immigrated or asylum seekers or refugees.
There are not that many Haitian-focused scholarships, but like any other award, the NAAHP Leadership Award is providing recognition for one's hard work.
As we know, college is expensive, so this scholarship fund provides the chance for a brighter future.
It felt like the universe was speaking, like I needed the money, I was intrigued, people were telling me to apply.
Going to college or graduate school can be very, very expensive. So donating to a scholarship like this would help that expense be more manageable.
Future generation of leaders, scholars, entrepreneurs,
Young adults that are trying to make something of their lives.
They are rock stars. They just need the help, and they need us to help them accomplish it.
There's like this Haitian proverb that says, many hands make the load lighter.
Log in and you can donate $10, $25, $50.
It makes me think of the Malcolm X quote that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It makes me happy to know that our organization is contributing to that goal, preparing others for the future.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Ketsia Alert Sadler, and it is my privilege to be presenting this evening and having this program with the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. Thank you so much to the team who reached out to me, and we have an awesome partnership that is going on for the next few months. I want to thank also some of our other partners, Chocarela Media, Book It Right Accountancy. And tonight we have a new partner, Parent Matters. And I'm very excited that Miss Rona Vega, the CEO of Parent Matters, is our guest this evening. And I'm just going to say a little bit about what Rona has been doing with Parent Matters, because we have so much information to give you that your head is going to absolutely explode. So what I like about Rona's description is that rather than keeping powerful and life-changing resources to herself, Rona began using Parent Matters as a vehicle to share resources and empower parents around the globe with educational tools and resources to help their own children find their passion and succeed. I don't remember when I met Rona, had to be about maybe 3-4 years ago, but she and I have been kindred spirits, like the yin and yang. We feed off of each other, we share information, because we're trying to get information out to you, the parents and the students, so you can have the future that you deserve. You can find Parent Matters also on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. She launched a program called The Power of Exposure, Youth Inspiring Youth. It's a powerful conversation with young people who want to share their journey and help others achieve the same. So thank you again, Rona Vega, for joining us, CEO of Parent Matters. So I want to ask you, first of all, why did you start Parent Matters?
Whew. First of all, thank you for that beautiful introduction, and welcome to everyone here tonight. Thank you for taking time out of it's a beautiful day in the Northeast. So thank you for taking time out of your lives and listening today. And I just want to say sak passe. And I just want to say thank you to the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. And to everyone out here watching, I got to give a little history, Ketsia. I just have to, as my Sarah. So I must tell you, I am not Haitian, but I feel like I am Haitian. I have a Haitian daughter, and you know, I have been trying to get to Haiti since I was maybe around 12 years old, with all my friends that I grew up in New York City with, and then on to college, more friends. And then I married a Haitian man. And so eventually I got there. 2012, right around my birthday, I celebrated a big birthday, and I had a big donation party. So we went down with 10 suitcases of donations, my daughter and I. She was actually a college student at Spelman University, and I heard that Spelman was going on a trip to Haiti. And I signed up before she even signed up to go. And I was dubbed Mama Spelman while we were on that 10-day trip in Haiti. And it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had. And I can't wait to get back. We stayed at in Cotobouquet. And we just did so much phenomenal work. We did so much work in the community, helping women start their own businesses and educating the children and just providing resources and different things that folks needed. So it is on my list. Actually, my daughter will be back there doing some work this summer. So thank you for this opportunity to speak. And thank you, Dr. Ketsia Maisara, for having me.
You're welcome. So yes, Rona and I last fall became members of the Best Sorority Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So shout out to all the sorors out there who are here listening with your children. We're here to give you information. So like I said before, Rona, tell us, how did Parent Matters come about?
So I'm the mom of 5. Yeah, I'm the mom of 5 amazing children. But as all the parents who are on this call today know, that it's challenging, right? It's challenging on so many different levels, and we just came through some challenging times. When my 3rd child was in high school, I realized that he only was interested in baseball and music. He's a great musician and a great athlete, but I thought making it to the major leagues or becoming a musician who can, you know, afford pay his own bills was just a little too, I just wanted a little bit more security than that for him. So I started exposing him to opportunities, and that started in high school. And I remembered some programs that my older daughters had done. And his first program he attended was UPenn. He did a business summer institute for kids of color at UPenn. And he did not want to go. And I know from many of you parents and maybe students listening, all 5 of my kids, everything that they did that ultimately led to scholarships, full tuition scholarships and more, they were not gung-ho. They were not happy at all. So he was at UPenn and realized, wow, this is mind-blowing. He realized it was a great opportunity, despite him not wanting to be there. And when he came home, he said, how come there are more kids at my school doing programs like this? And then that same summer, he did multiple programs that just gave him some exposure to real college life, which I don't think should happen just when they're first going away as a college student. So the light bulb went on then when we realized, wait, why aren't other students in our community doing this? And in our particular town. So I started talking to parents, and that's when the light bulb went on, and that's when we started Parent Matters.
Okay, and I see that you've had awards and all different type of things that the program itself has garnered. So how do you share Parent Matters? How would somebody find out about Parent Matters?
So Parent Matters. So I'm so fortunate. We have a website. That is the best place to get our resources, is to register on our website at parentmatters.com. Almost daily, you will get resources, and we send out scholarship information. We send out internship information, job information, exposure opportunities, and a lot of those exposure opportunities start as early as middle school. And, a lot of the information was based here in the Northeast and in the New York, New Jersey area. But now that we have a lot of virtual and we've, lived through this virtual world, we've had students from all over the world participating, so there are so many blessings that came out of this whole pandemic that we've been in. And I think this is one of them. And I think a lot of programs are going to try to continue to at least have a virtual program in addition if they have in person.
Okay. So as you said, your son did that program at UPenn. So how important, we need to tell the students, how important is it to do a program when you're in high school and even middle school? What does that do for a student?
Oh my gosh, it opens your mind. I mean, he called home and said, "What's summering in the vineyard?" And I knew at that point when he said that he was with a different level of economic students who would come from a different economic base. And that's good because it boosted his confidence. He wasn't sure he was going to be able to complete college. He always was questioning all that kind of stuff. And it gave him an opportunity to see that, hey, I can do this. I mean, the program is so robust. It's called LEAD and LEAD Summer Business Institute, and they're all over. My daughter did the program at Cornell and Hampton University. My other son did a program at Northwestern, and my other daughter will be doing the LEAD program at Northwestern this year. It leads to so much. The network. My son said the most important thing about being at UPenn was the network that he made, the friends that he made, the network with the professors. And what happened is 2 summers after that, he was looking for an internship. And before he even started his search, one of the young people he was in the network at UPenn with sent him an email and said, "Hey, you want this internship on Wall Street?" And lo and behold, and that's what happens. You get to work on those soft skills and you get to make those amazing connections. I often say my program is equivalent to golf. So a lot of us don't play golf. It is definitely on my bucket list, but I always heard growing up that maybe, people, when they're playing golf, they may share information. Hey, your kid needs an internship or needs a job or needs this, or wait, there's this scholarship. And so this is what we're doing. I feel like there's a lot of hidden information, hidden resources, and we've been uncovering it. And as they say, you build it and it will come. I think God definitely heard my prayers or heard what we were doing and said, I'm going to just flood them with so much information. And it is unbelievable, the amount of information that I'm still getting on a daily basis that we've just never heard of.
I know, because I get a lot of it from you, and then I'm sure you have people sending you information as well. Say, I know you send out information to students, so here's some information. So I know that the programs definitely have an impact as far as giving you college credits. So can you speak to some of your children's experiences with getting college credits through these programs, or other students who got college credit, and how did that impact their college trajectory, or maybe how it affected it?
Right, definitely. The college credit. So there are a couple of ways to get college credit. And, I'm really not happy with many high schools who don't make this information readily available. So as parents, I have to say to you, just, before we even go on, graduation from high school and college begins in grade school. It really starts early, and you really got to start exposing your kids. I mean, even when you're out on vacation, wherever you are, just find a nearby college. Drive on the campus, take a look, show kids. So this becomes a part of their regular daily conversation, understanding. So looking at colleges is not like brand spanking new when you're a junior, a senior in high school. It really is kind of late to start then. So you really want this all to be, and listen, I told my kids their first words were free ride. And that's the whole goal. It's like, absolutely. Why are we spending money on college when we can be spending money on other things? So that's the goal. So what was your question? I'm so sorry.
We were talking about the college credits and what impact, if a program has college credits, so what impact will that have on the student when they get to college?
So, and the reason I brought up is high schools often have affiliations with colleges, right? When my daughter got to Spelman, there were kids who came into Spelman with an associate's degree, literally from high school. So they already were going into almost their junior year. So that was something I learned. So the next 2 kids, we kind of had to research and find out more information. Some high schools, it's more readily available. And if your high school does not have a connection with a college, make the administration make that connection. You know, that there's no reason why high school students shouldn't be leaving with also the AP credits that'll also give you college credits. But there are programs like at Rutgers Business School out of Newark and New Brunswick. They have a program for juniors in high school, and it's called RBS for short, and RBS Prep. And they, one semester from January till May, they just graduated. My daughter was one of the graduates, and they're a full semester of a business class. And when my son, who did this program a few years ago, got to his college, it placed him out of one of his higher management classes. He's a finance major. And so we were like, oh, okay. So, you know, and that was free. The program used to be $50, an application fee. It is absolutely free. It's every Saturday. It's like 8 till 1. We had to get my son to Newark this year. It was remote. So kids were doing this program from all over. And programs like this are feeders, right? So if there's a school that you're thinking about or your kids are thinking about, that's why you have to really start looking in middle school and start having these conversations about what might you want to do, or what kind of campus you want to go to, or because you want to start looking at these programs. If you want to go to MIT has a ton of programs that are free that you can start doing as early as middle school. And sometimes this is how you feed into, it's no guarantee you're going to get into the school, but these are where a lot of the programs are. And don't let money defer you from or prevent you from applying, because so many of these programs have scholarships.
Right.
Trust and believe. And you know what happens is they have scholarships sometimes because not enough kids apply. So then they're just giving out money. My kids actually, they've gone to programs, they didn't apply for the scholarships, and they were offered scholarships because they didn't have enough kids applying. And then they were calling me, do you know nieces? Do you have nieces and nephews or someone? So it's out here. So don't ever let anything prevent you from applying. Don't even think, even as, you know, students, oh, well, maybe I won't get, or maybe I won't get that scholarship, or maybe I won't get that internship. Every application is just a learning experience also. It's preparing you for all these applications that you're going to be completing through life. So go for everything. You'd be surprised.
So I want to go back on the piece where you mentioned the free ride part. So let's talk about that Rutgers program. You said it's absolutely free and you can come out of it with credits and not have to take an advanced course. So for the parents out there, 3 credits. Whether you go to Rutgers, I don't even know what the tuition is. Say it's $500 per credit at Rutgers. Let's look at some of the Ivy Leagues like MIT. It's probably $1,000 for free. You're getting $3,000 worth credit. About that, parents. So if your child is able to do programs throughout the summer and rack up those credits, that is less money coming out of your pocket. So let's start thinking forward. Free ride. That's the key. Free ride.
Free ride is definitely the vocabulary. But I will tell you this, not every program is going to give you college credit. That is just one of, you know, the ones my kids did. But in high school, sometimes you're offered, like the high school 2 of my kids went to offered them courses through Syracuse University. It was already the course they were enrolled in. But if we paid I can't remember what the fee was, but it was considerably less, you know, than what we would have paid for that course at Syracuse University. So I say take the advantage of all of that. So my kids graduated high school usually with between 12 and 15 credits. And you want that. You want them to have that jump start. You know, they may have a rough year in college and they need less classes, so it's always good to be looking. That's just saving money, period.
Right. So I'll speak on my family's experience. My older son went to summer college at Syracuse between his junior and senior years of high school. He got 6 college credits. And then once he got accepted into Syracuse, he was also accepted.
I think your audio went down, frozen.
Yeah, I can't even see anything.
Okay, you're good now. Oh, so I see a question in the chat.
I don't see anything.
So while you're getting that together, I see Mr. Leonard is in high school and said he's really thankful for the video. We can hear you, Ketsia, just so you know. Well, we could. Now we can't. So someone asked about the program I spoke about is called the Lead Summer Business Institute. I'll type it So our tech can put it in the chat. Summer Business Institute. So while we're waiting for Ketsia to come back, I just want to just move on and talk about some of the, just some of the steps you want to take. I talked already about, graduation begins in grade school. So educating our children really begins at home. You just can't ever think about, let me just drop my kids off for 12 years. Maybe you move to a certain school district and if you think it's really great, you still have to stay involved, be involved, partnering with the school, emailing teachers before the school year starts. You usually get a schedule, and sometimes in summer, August or September, contact your teacher, contact the principal if it's a new school. I've always done that. I've always toured the school or had my kids meet with the principal. So the first day is not their first time really getting to know what's going on. When I email teachers, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure because I know that I don't see Ketsia anymore. Okay, so when you email teachers, introduce yourself, introduce your child, and let them know that what your child's strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what you're expecting for the school year, and then give them a green light to let them know that, listen, please communicate with me. Here's my email address. Here's my phone number. Just stay in contact with me. Don't wait until, I've always told school professionals that don't wait until things go awry. Just as soon as you see something that might seem a little bit strange or off, reach out to me so we can work as a partner. And I will tell you, I know that we don't always have enough time to volunteer and do volunteer work in the school, but I've had teachers, professionals, administrators are human beings. They pay attention to kids when they know that there's some input at home, that there's some personal attention that's being happening with their child. So I would definitely stay involved with your child and their teachers at the school. Welcome back, Ketsia.
Thank you. It's good to be back. I was so lost. I wasn't sure what was going on. But what I started to say is that my older son, I'm sorry, I'm back, I hope. My older son did Syracuse's summer program as a high school between junior and senior year of high school, got accepted to Syracuse, and then he went to what they call summer start for incoming freshmen to give you a jump start on college. So he started college as a freshman with 13 college credits because he got 6 that first summer, 7 the next summer. So by the time he got to his spring semester, he actually had junior status. He had sophomore status. So what that did for us as a family was we could switch up his meal plan because he wasn't a freshman. So think about that, parents. The more credits you get, and I know another student, when Rona was talking about graduating with your associate's degree, there's a school here in Bergen County affiliated with Bergen Community College. Students graduate with associate's degree. So one young lady I know graduated in May with her associates, got her high school diploma in June, and started Hampton University with junior credit, even though she was a first-year student. So that could have cut out 2 years of school for her. So that's another important thing about these summer programs for students in getting the credits.
Yes, it's really important. And, there's a pipeline with these programs too. They start tracking your children. They see they're interested in them. They're starting to look when they're looking for internships. When they get into college, these are the networks that they can kind of go back to and say, hey, and a lot of these organizations have money to give as scholarships. You'd just be surprised and I just really want to, make sure you understand. I know that there are eligibility requirements on scholarships and stuff like that apply anyway. Just this week, my son was looking back he's at Howard, and we were looking at his scholarships or his bill, and he's like, wow, I don't even remember getting this Walmart scholarship. They sent it directly to the college, and he applied. He technically wasn't eligible. I forgot what the criteria was, but he applied. And my other kid, so that was Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall has a phenomenal portal. Just go in there, and it doesn't matter how old your kid is. Start looking at these things earlier. The other thing is start looking at college essays early, because you can have your college essay done before you even start applying, like way before, like the summer before, the summer, previous year, junior year, they don't usually change. So while applications are open in your junior year, start looking at schools that you're possibly thinking about going with and applying to, and have your English teachers start working with you on those essays throughout the year. So by the time August comes around before you start your senior year, applications are open. You can have everything done before you start school. So you're not so stressed out during your senior year trying to do applications, do scholarships and all that stuff, and do your schoolwork. So just something to keep in mind. And then if you look at this all in advance, if you start looking at scholarships and applications for college and the presidential scholarships and the ones that the schools give away, look at what their requirements are. So if you're starting in 8th grade looking at this, or 9th grade, then you're already ahead of the game, because you already know, okay, now I know what GPA I need to have. Now I need to know how robust my resume needs to look. Now I know that they give scholarships for starting your own organization or volunteering. Some schools give scholarships. There's a STAMP scholarship that is huge. It's for certain schools, but it's all based on volunteer work. So these are just really things. That's why you have to start early. That is really the most important thing I can tell you.
That's the key. So let's another thing also that they should taking it. And do you recommend also doing the prep course before the PSATs? I've always said to do the prep course before junior year, because you want to be strong in that PSAT.
Yeah, that PSAT can amount to some definite money. And so, yeah, if you can do that, I did not have that knowledge with all of my children, but it definitely, I work actually with a strategist an SAT prep strategist, just a phenomenal brother here in Essex County, New Jersey, who it's so funny. I was talking to him yesterday because he does a lot of work in the community in addition to helping. And I remember telling him a score that my daughter is looking to get as she's going into her senior year. And he said, you did not say 1600. You should only be shooting for a 1600. And I'm like, okay, you're right. So there are strategies. And I had no idea. My other kids had no idea. So we've learned this over the last few years. And taking the test early as possible is huge, because then a strategist can help you pick apart the things you got wrong, the questions you got wrong, and help you pinpoint. When you talk to students who've gotten 1600s or 1550s, which my interns have all gotten over 1550, they basically said it's all about strategy. And there's so many things, and there is a piece of this. You have to know this too. Math is huge, right? So you have to be aware of what math classes have to be taken before you take the SAT. And so some middle schools don't offer certain math courses so that you can get to high school and lead into that. So these are things that talking to folks early enough and finding out is really, really important. But the goal when I talk to my interns is shoot for the 800 on the math. And some people, there are so many strategies around this that it's just mind blowing. And many people in our communities just don't know. So here I am to make sure you understand and know this. And on my website, there's connections to a lot of these resources and people as well.
Okay, so for the students who are saying, I'm not a good test taker, I hear the strategies, what about the ones who are thinking of the test optional schools? What advice would you give them?
I think that's fine, but I still think, so I have at least two of my kids are not good test takers. One of them had an IEP when he was in middle school, so that gave him, extra time. And sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes our kids just need the extra support and extra time, because some kids are just really anxious, or students. I'm a very anxious test taker. So when you take away some of those barriers, they do just fine. But honestly, there are so many colleges that don't require the SATs. And I'm not talking because of COVID. If you have an opportunity to take the SATs or ACTs, and a strategist will help you determine, based on the first time you take it, which test is gonna give you the best scores, but based on the way you take a test. But there are so many schools and there are so many other options. So don't let that be a deterrent. But if you have an opportunity to take this test and get a high score, I say do it, because it is definitely going to open up some more doors than not.
Okay. And then I've been reading also that sometimes even some of the like merit scholarships, they may want to look at that. So you still need those scores, even if you're not applying to the school or further on, once you get into the college, they may want to see those scores in order to award you some money.
Definitely.
So that's something good.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears from the high school kids. Let's talk to maybe there might be some college kids. How important is the summer for the college students? What should they be doing in the summertime to help them?
Yeah, very, very important. So, just real quickly going back to the high school, remember those programs that you can possibly do during the summer. And I think just in our resource director, we probably have over 120 resources of summer opportunities or opportunities like on a weekend, Saturday. And those will probably most likely lead into some college programs. But when you are at college, or if you're choosing a college, I do want to say this. Look at colleges that I did this, and I think it's really important that there is a support system for your children. It's really hard to just send your children or your students just blindly to a school. I particularly made my kids go to schools where there was a support system built in for their particular major. My son was dead set on computer science, and I was like, I know you're a coder, but this school has a phenomenal business program that is going to give you all the connections, because he did have an interest there as well. And then he was able to major in computer information systems. So that those cohorts are huge. They put you out there. They have all the guest speakers coming in. And it's important to choose colleges that have the opportunity or the ability, or they have a track record of giving you opportunities to intern. So when I hear college students home and not interning and can't find an internship, the first thing I say is, what's happening at your school, and why aren't they helping you? And so that goes back to the department you're working with, the majors. So before you choose a college, so we have a college a list of our connections, college connections on my website. And so there are people, I always suggest reach out to the parents of these kids that have gone to these schools, reach out to the students, have a good conversation, have a list of questions you want to ask, because you really want to make sure you're going to be connected, because internships is everything. And the more I talk to CEOs and folks that are, sharing opportunities, I actually spoke to a gentleman recently who does the hiring for the Department of Interior for the government in science. And he was just really upset because he said that he just could never find enough people of color interning and having internships on their resume. And that's the pool they go to when they're looking to hire. So that opens up every door. That's how you get your toe in the door, your foot in the door. So internships are huge. It's just another way to also explore and figure out if this is really what you want to do, right? Rather than committing. So it's kind of, giving you that in. And I know when my son interned with the city of New York, as he did some asset management for the comptroller's office, he knew this is not where I want to work. This is not where I want to work. So, and so it just wasn't a good fit for him. But I think it's really important that internships are just, you have to participate in internships once you get to college. Otherwise, you're going to graduate with 5 million other people, and they're going to have some other people are going to have a leg up on you, because you won't have those connections.
So would you say that sometimes having a GPA that's high is great, but having an internship may have carry more weight than a high GPA?
I think having a well-rounded resume, going into college, I think that's what's going to open those doors to get you the merit money, and I think that's what happened with my kids. And so well-rounded, meaning you got some academic programs on there, maybe some athletics, some volunteerism is huge. But, so I think that definitely when you're looking at scholarship, once you're in college, there are still a lot of scholarships that are offered once you've proven yourself that first year. Listen, a lot of kids don't do extremely well their first year. It's such an adjustment. That's why it's important. They're adjusting to so many things. One being away from home, Maybe they were real super smart in high school and now they're with a cohort of super smart kids and they're not that one anymore. So there's a lot of adjustment. That's why I think sending them off, even for a week-long program in the summer, before they get to college, just gives them that little bit of exposure, confidence, and a little bit of understanding of how to handle themselves once they're away from home. It's a huge jump, going from high school to college.
No, absolutely. So what would you say are some of the barriers that you've seen as to why students are either not accessing these programs or taking advantage of these opportunities?
So one, I definitely believe that's why we created Parent Matters in this pipeline is we don't even know. We don't even know. Like once my son did a program at Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase, then we saw Black Pathways and we're like, he's getting emails. And so they like shooting me emails. They're like, Mom, we didn't even know this existed. So I think that is one thing, but now that I'm sharing, so we don't have that anymore. You have to take the time to look at these opportunities. I know we're all stressed, we're all taxed. Create a village. This parenting is definitely not something you can do in isolation. And I'm so fortunate that I have a village. And I will ask any and everyone to be a part of my village. Ketsia is a part of my village. And, I don't know what your kids are like, but my kids don't necessarily listen to me and my husband. It's just the way it is. And I'm not going to get into that whole psychology. You really want other folks to be able to, so an aunt, an uncle, someone in the community, a mentor that you respect, that has their ear. I was doing my walk this morning with my husband and I ran into one of the gym teachers at our high school who is such so connected to the kids. And I said to him, I see so many scholarships in our community that were not applied for, or they weren't completed. The applications weren't completed in full. And I said to him this morning, and I'm like, listen, we are going to tap you from now on, and you're going to be our in with the kids, and you're going to do the check-in. And so we have to have a village. It's too much to do by yourself. It's just too much. The whole process is very, very complicated. So you kind of want an editor in your crew, somebody that's looking at the essays. I tell my kids, don't send any important emails or essays out or applications before someone reviews it, maybe two eyes. So it's intense. It's a lot of work. But that's why we're here. And Parent Matters actually offers services. We do success Zooms where you can sit with one of our coaches and they'll help you fill out an application. They'll go through our whole resource directory. And so it's so great to see so many parents email me and say, hey, my kid got into that program that your coach helped them do. So we have to do this as a village. We can't do this alone. I didn't do it alone. I'm not doing it alone. And so I really suggest you tap the village, find a village. If you don't have a village, I'll be a part of your village.
Me too.
Yes.
We're here. You got two. No excuses for anyone in the audience. You have two resources that you can reach out to right now. So I wanted to go back when we were talking about for the college students and the internships. So can we talk about how it doesn't matter whether it's paid or not paid? It's the impact is the experience you're getting. Because I know my older son, his first summer out of college, had an internship that he was not getting paid for, but the experience from it allowed him the following year at a paid internship to get taken on a business trip with the company. Like, well, you did such and such. So can you speak to that on the paid versus not paid?
Yeah, I say go for it. I see a lot more internships paid, which I'm really impressed with. I'm not going to lie. But if it's unpaid, the experience is going to be worth gold. So I say go for it. I remember my daughter called I don't know if she was a junior or a senior in college. And she says, this internship is only paying $1,000. And I remember saying, do you have $1,000? And she was like, no. I said, okay, so take it. And that internship opened up her entire world. She ended up interning with Planned Parenthood. That led to her being very involved in the political climate in Georgia. She worked with John Lewis and Stacey Abrams. So gold. That's all I can say. Her mentor and so it's the connections, the people, and she still relies on those same connections and people. So you have to do it. You have to do it. And if it's just one summer with an unpaid internship, so then we'll figure it out. But make it happen. If like the money is really that important, I definitely say and do it. And some of these programs, actually in New York City, they have some programs that work with the youth employment. I can't remember what it's called. We used to work there, but where you can do some of these programs and get paid. So I know the Wall Street Bound program is working on that. All-Star Code has that program set up. So, there are so many options, but sometimes you have to forego the money for now to get the experience. And that experience is going to open up so many doors.
Yes, I totally agree. So what else can you say to the parents to help to kind of encourage them as to the impact they're going to have on their children's future success?
I keep saying start early, and no matter where you are, start. That doesn't really matter where you are right now. Just start that exposure, because once you expose your child to opportunities, it's going to be limitless. And I've literally shown up to track meets, football games, baseball games, wherever our people are. I go, I have flyers, I have business cards, and I'm like, sign up for this engineering program. It's free. It's this and that. And I know sometimes we're fearful, and maybe from our own personal experiences, right? So, or maybe we don't think they're really good in math or science. I say, try anyway. If they're going to fail at something, failure is a part of life, right? So let them fail while they're still living under your roof, and you can still nurture them back to where they need to be, rather than be 600 miles away and experiencing failure for the first time, or wherever they go to college. So make this an All-Star Code, which I love. There's so many programs that I have such an affinity to. That is for boys of color in 10th and 11th grade. So trust me when I say it's just one of those programs that their whole mantra is about failing, about embracing failure. They celebrate you when you're failing. So one of my sons doesn't really like coding. So he's like, I don't want to do that. But it's really not just about coding, but coding is one of those skill sets that you're going to fail more than you're going to succeed, right? Because you got to keep going through the bugs and this and that. So that's just a part of life. And those soft skills that they learn, it's just incredible. Some kids are more reserved, more shy. So learning how to greet, how to shake someone's hand, look them in the eye, network, following up, maintaining those networks, just creating an email. So kids are on all this social media. A lot of kids don't even know how to write emails. So they have all these code words that I don't even know. So we have to teach them this stuff. And I say, honestly, guide them until they're old enough to get off your health insurance. Until then, because they need the guidance. Just the other day, my son's going into his junior year of college. Let's sit down. Let's draft an email to your advisor. Let's talk about, are you on time for graduation? Let's get all those questions asked. Are you going to graduate early? Let's talk about study abroad now that you've missed a year. So all those things. And so you have to guide them. I know we're a little tired, and it's been a long haul raising our kids, but trust me, putting in the hard work now is going to pay off dividends when I tell you that, so many dividends. And, people say to me, I put a lot of information on Facebook about my kids because they call themselves my guinea pigs. The doors opened up for them at Google. One's interning at Facebook this summer, one's at Deloitte. And it's just so many, and I'm not so big on just these brand names, but what happens is these names sometimes will open up other doors. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, right? So get that experience. I'm sure that they'll look at some of these companies and go, I don't want to work there, or maybe I do. But it's so nice to be able to know before you graduate college and make these big commitments.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have one question from the audience where people. The question is asking about your specific services offered by Parent Matters and cost of your services.
Awesome. Excellent question. So the resources that we share right now are free. We're moving to a different platform soon though, because it's overwhelming, and I actually have to hire a social media person to handle all this information. But so that information at this point is free. You just have to register on parentmatters.com, and you'll get bombarded with emails. I'm sorry, at least one a day, not more than one. But we're working on a technology system that will allow parents to just put in their demographics and just get that information that they need for their kids at that time. But we also offer success Zooms where a coach will work with your child, whatever grade, whatever age, and for an hour, and that ranges like $75. If it's a college student, it's a little bit more, maybe $100. And they will spend an hour going through our directory. We have a scholarship directory, we have resource directory, we have so many different directories. Identify what they can apply to and help them with the application. My kids have become expert essay writers, so I love that. And that takes practice. They were not good at essay writing, but and then you categorize all these essays and you keep them in your Google Drive, so a scholarship shows up and there you go. So so those are the services that we offer. We help with anything under the sun, though. Honestly, as someone said to me, you help with conception of the child all the way to their graduation from college or beyond, actually, to their career, actually. So yeah. So it's been a blessing that we can share these resources and to see the lives that we've touched and changed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, Rona with Parent Matters, she's on my distribution emails from College Cafe, and then I send her things when I get them because there's information to be had. There's information. College Cafe deals primarily with the financial piece, but we do talk about doing these internships and doing summer programs because you want to make college affordable. So if you come to me and say, what was that woman who was on the NAAHP workshop back in May? I don't remember. I will connect you with Rona because she'll help you with that application. Or like I said, whatever scholarship she has, I will have and will send to you because we want your children to be successful. We want you as parents to be able to say, look, I helped my child with these resources. And it's okay if you don't know. Like Rona said, she didn't know. With my first son, I didn't really know everything. If it wasn't for a program called Operation Link Up that we found in Patterson that helped him go to Syracuse for that summer, he wouldn't be where he is today. So we need to share because the opportunities are available for your children. And don't be afraid. Like I said, a lot of times, sometimes we hold our children back because we don't know what they're capable of. But if you don't put them out there, we'll never know. Yeah. And another thing Rona may do with her kids, as I do with mine, and I ask other parents to do, is where is your child's strength? What is their skill set? What can they do best? Find those opportunities and strengthen them. Yeah. But if they don't, that's okay. Then we as parents have to expose them. And that's what Parent Matters talks about. It's the power of exposure. The kids need to see other students who look like them doing certain things, going to different places. So that's what we're here to do and help you out with.
Yeah, that's huge. And, it's so important because, if your kid has never been interested in math or engineering, don't keep them from trying an engineering program because we have an engineering program locally that is just mind blowing. And they made it fun and exciting so that kids wouldn't be, I don't know any engineers. I just didn't know. I mean, I know now as an adult, but growing up, I just didn't know. So a lot of times that's a foreign word or, go for it. There was a program that's paying $1,200 a stipend for information about medical careers. It was like a 6-week program over the summer at a local hospital where we live. And I said to my daughter, I know you're not necessarily interested in medicine or medical careers, but why not? Why not? You don't really know what you don't want. You don't know what you want to do. Many of us are grown people. I used to tell my kids, I think I just found out what I'm supposed to be doing, as a grown person. So don't ever keep them back and say, I don't think they'll really like that. Same thing with the coding, same thing with the business stuff. Everyone needs how to know how to balance a checkbook, right? So that's why I sent my son to a business program, and now they're advising me on stocks and all that kind of stuff, and know about real estate and so much more. They're like checking their credit every day. It's so funny, but we have to expose them. And once you do that, I remember, I'm going to tell a quick story. There was a young woman at our local high school, and she said her son wasn't really feeling school. He was a senior. And I remember being at a tailgate party at a football game, and I'm trying to corral all these young men together. And I'm like, I want you guys to try this program at a Goldman Sachs. It's a financial literacy program. It's 9 months. It's every other Wednesday. Yes, you have to travel into the city, but trust me. And so there were all kind of crazy. My son was the first young person from New Jersey that did it, and I wanted to expose to other folks, and they were always looking for kids. And one young man came over and was like telling everybody, "You don't know what Goldman Sachs is? Well, let me tell you. Let's all do it together." So thank God he did this. And but I remember that mom saying, "Nah, he's not gonna like it." This young man changed his life. It started in October. By November 3rd or 4th, she calls me and she's like, he's shopping for suits because they had to dress. It was run by some Morehouse brothers, and she said, "I don't know what's happening at Goldman Sachs every other Wednesday, but this is changing his life." And he wanted to be well dressed. The director of the program, the CEO, called and said, "Who is this young man? He's in the front of the room. He's talking about stocks every week. He already has, so it's like hands-on." The first night you're there, they give you some stocks to look up, and you got to come back and report. So it's just phenomenal, and it leads to internships and money. So shout out to Fast Track and Steve Smart and Troy Prince at Wall Street Bound. He's just jumping off a program this summer. So reach out to me and I'll share that information with you. But there's so many different things. And I know sometimes we think, my kid won't really like finance, or they won't like this. How do you know? Just expose them. And if they don't like it, that's phenomenal. They can check that off the list. Right?
Exactly. Like Rona said, let's have them make the mistakes now and figure out what they don't like before they're thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and have a degree that they cannot do anything and cannot find a job to support it. So we really have to support the children. I know, like I said, my children too, Rona, they don't listen to me, but I know my older son, when he went to that program at Syracuse, the director ruled it with an iron fist. And he's like, I don't want to disappoint him. But he also didn't want to disappoint himself, because he said, I don't want to be sent home. So he did what he had to do that summer and worked hard and got into the school that he wanted to. But again, that's because I had to push him. When we first started going to the meetings in Patterson, he was not liking it. He said, I don't know anybody. I don't want to go. He was trying to get his dad on his side to say, talk to mommy. I don't want to do it. But graduation, from college, he said, Mommy, thank you so much for not listening to me and letting me quit, because he would not be where he is today. The child went to Syracuse, graduated with a job, was able to take care of himself. And he just graduated last week with an MBA from George Washington University. So again, from a child who didn't know what he wanted to do and didn't want to trust mom, he went on to get an advanced degree. Now grandpa's going to say, when's that doctorate coming? But I don't know about that. But again, my pushing him, like Rona did pushing her children, they end places they would have never imagined. So parents, you have to. I always say at my other workshops that if you've always been the parent who always said yes to your child, you might have to start switching gears and start saying no to some things. You might have to say, no, if it's not going to benefit you in some positive way as far as your future, we might have to put that aside for a bit, because we have goals. We have things. Even if we don't know what you want to do, we're not going to say no to an opportunity that may open up into something.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what you said, and that whole parenting thing. And listen, I've heard, I hate you, I'm never speaking to you again, the slamming of the doors. They'll get over it. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to happen. They're going to say, you're not trying to be their friend. You're trying to make sure that they can eventually have their own 401k and live self-sufficiently at some point. And that's really what the whole goal is, right? So it's going to take some work. It's going to take some more work, but it's worth it. And so the village is key. It's just important to stay in this game and have other people help you. I know it's taxing, it's tiring, and there are many days I'm like, you know what? But I just like choose an hour once a week. Okay. I tell my kids, you got to give me an hour. Listen, my mother raised me in New York City, me and my siblings, and as a single mom, and she was like, if you are going to eat my food and live under my roof, you're going to do what I say. And we have to get back to that, and that's just the bottom line. They don't know what they don't know. So it would be a shame for them to miss out on opportunities because they were like pushing up against us. They're going to push, but they don't know what the benefit is going to be. So it's really important that we do that. And, Ketsia, you spoke about the college finances. I'm actually having I'm doing an interview with a young lady who's like the alumni mom of Howard and has been working with Howard University and their students for over 20 years. And, brand name schools there, I wish I had my books in here, but I'll definitely get it out to your tech folks so they can share. There's some books out there that you need to read about money and college. And there are so many great schools that you should really be choosing school based on how much money they're giving you. And I've had this conversation with my kids, and basically it starts with, we're not becoming homeless for you to go to college. That's where it starts, right? And that's kind of where it ends. So, and so if you make these choices, you're going to have to deal with it. And so there are young people who are leaving college with $100,000 or more in debt. Even 50 is too much. It's just too, and you really need to make sure they understand. And I'll have this on my YouTube once we record tomorrow, that it's going to hinder your entire life. All right. You graduate with $100,000 worth of debt. I don't care how much your job is paying you. Your debt to equity ratio is going to be so high, you're not going to be able to buy a home. And you're going to be paying minimally $1,000 a month in student loan debt. So, and student loans follow you to your grave. So you just want to make sure you're not making those big mistakes. You don't want to hate your college because you ended up in so much debt. It's not that serious. The brand names, it doesn't really matter. Especially if you're going to grad school, unless you're doing something super specific, there are so money. Okay? Don't get hung up on those brand names and this and that. We chose, my son, we did an experiment. He's my fourth child. He applied to 27 schools because we just wanted to know for Parent Matters. He took the ACT, the SET. We wanted to do a lot of different things. So he was really my guinea pig, and he had a lot of vouchers to apply to schools for free. And so he did not end up where he thought he wanted to be. He ended up going where they gave him the most money. And that was a blessing. He actually ended up going to, what's that called? The open house for acceptance day, and fell in love with this school that he never even thought he would want to go to. And it turned out to be the best fit ever. And they gave him full everything. So, it's just really important that you find there's over 3,000 colleges in the United States. There's a school out there.
There are. There's actually when I did last year research, there's over 4,000 actually. There's even more. So it's like I always say, there is a school for you. And yes, definitely go where you're going to pay the less out of pocket, especially for graduate school. Yeah. Doesn't make sense to be in so much debt. It doesn't.
Right. And the gentleman, I heard a podcast yesterday, and he was talking about some of the biggest mistakes. And it was a 27-year-old that called in and said, he's just got his graduate degree, but he's in like $85,000 worth of debt. And, and so that is holding us back as a people. My son, spoke recently at Juneteenth last year about economic Black wealth, right? That is holding us back. That debt, that student loan debt and we're the ones that graduate with the most student loan debt. So we have to change that. We have to change that conversation in our house with our kids. And because we don't see the money coming out of our pocket, in the beginning, it doesn't really seem like a lot. We're just signing on a dotted line or on a screen or whatever for these student loans. Don't do it. So I'm speaking from experience, from my own personal, and some of my kids who did not listen. But trust me when I tell you, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. It will change your whole life.
Nope, I totally agree. That's, like I said, that's what College Cafe does. We're talking about everything so that you pay the least amount to go to school, because there are way too many. There are schools that will pay tuition totally free. It's totally free. You're not even paying tuition at some of these schools, and we have those resources as well. And that money talk is a good segue, because next month, the workshops will be talking about finances for students, as far as saving money, and then we're talking to the parents as well, looking at 401ks and retirement, all that kind of stuff. Because again, that's things that you can start talking about when you're in high school, even middle school. Some of the students, if you've got a business going, you can kind of even start your 401k even in middle and high school. So we'll be talking about that because we want to start creating that generational wealth and getting out of debt. That's so, so important. So thank you for bringing up that information about the debts. So let's see. I don't see any more questions.
When you talk about debt, I just want to say one more thing about that. There are schools, and that's why you start early, that will pay for your tuition. They will pay for your meal plan. They will pay for your room and board. They will pay for transportation and your books. There are programs set up. Like we found out about this a little late, but it was at Howard. I can't think of the name of it. It's like a Howard STEM program, but and they literally pay for your undergrad, your grad, and your PhD, and everything else associated with that. So the only thing was you cannot have a C in high school. So my son, I think, had a C in chemistry, I think his freshman year. So that was the only, there are a lot of different eligibilities, and these kids travel the world. So there are a lot of schools that have this, but that's why it's really important by middle school, you're looking at this so that you start 9th grade with a clean slate and you're like, okay, I'm going to make sure I have exactly what this school is looking for. Unfortunately, most of us, just like me, we didn't know a lot of these things and real quick on if your kid's a student athlete, understanding that whole piece about the NCAA. Like we found that out kind of like at a meeting, I'm texting the guidance counselor. I'm like, wait a minute, found out he was in the wrong English class in his senior year. Even though it was an honors AP course, it wasn't NCAA approved. Who would have thought? So that's so important that we make sure that we talk about these and get all the information you need way ahead of time. And just for athletes, I just need you to know, just being great at a sport is not enough. You got to make sure you have a certain GPA and a certain SAT. So these are all really important things that we need to make sure we know about as early as possible with our students.
Absolutely. So we could probably talk for hours more, but I just want to thank you again, Rona Vega, Miss CEO of Parent Matters. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your resources, your information with our audience. Thank you again to the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals for having us. Also to our partners, Chocarela, Parent Matters, Book It Right Accountancy, College Cafe. We are delighted to be presenting you with information. So again, today we hope that you were able to get some new knowledge or enhance some knowledge you already had. Please make sure you reach out to us. You can find us on Facebook or on Instagram, on YouTube. So please reach out and no question is a dumb question like they've always said in school. We much rather you reach out to us earlier than later. Right now, middle school, freshmen, sophomores in high school, we're available. So come out, call us, email us, whatever it is that you need to do. We are here to help you. So again, any parting words, Ms. Vega, for our audience?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this phenomenal webinar workshop. This is just great what you're doing in the community. We have to do more of this and we have to share this information. Someone asked about my services. We help build those robust resumes, and that's really key to start looking at those categories. When I work with 8th and 9th graders, even higher grades, we look at the different categories, and then I give them examples of some robust resumes that I have, and it's like, what do you want to put in these categories? And let's start there. And then let's start working on that. Let's look at some volunteer opportunities in your area. Let's look at these things in your high school that you can participate in, or exposure programs, and start building as early as possible. So we do that kind of work as well. So because that's what's going to open the doors, get your resume recognized by that merit scholarship committee, as well as other scholarship committees. And there are so many out here that are looking for young people. I want you to write down Executive Leadership Council. Phenomenal scholarship, is just mind-blowing. Not only do they give your kids a ton of money, they mentor them. These are the CEOs, Black and Latino CEOs from around the world. and they mentor you. They bring you down to DC for a week. And my son's like, I'm on the dance floor partying with the CEO of Lowe's. And I'm like, you go ahead, boy. So there's so much out here. We just have to trust, believe, and use these resources and reach out to the village and let us be a part of it, Ketsia and I. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great night.
Hi, my name is Antoinette Charles, and I'm a first-generation Haitian American. I was born and raised in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia to pursue my undergraduate studies at Georgia State University. After graduating with a Bachelor's of Science in Neuroscience, I went to the National Institute of Health to become a post-baccalaureate research scholar. I'm currently a second-year medical student here at Duke University School of Medicine, and we will be starting our clinical rotations this year. Thank you so much for choosing me to be an NAAHP scholar. I'm so grateful for your donations and for your help in allowing me to purchase the supplies that I need to do well in my clinical rotations this year. Those supplies include textbooks and access to different question banks, which will be imperative in doing well on my board exams. Thank you so much for supporting me in my journey in pursuing medicine. And in terms of my clinical interests, I'm really interested in health equity, health policy, and medical journalism. And I'm also interested in pursuing a surgical specialty, hopefully neurosurgery. So this scholarship means the world to me, and I'm greatly appreciative of all the things that you're doing for me and the other scholars.